All right. Well, I call Austrian wine summer in a glass. But why is that? Are the wines of Austria, in particular, the white wine, Gruner Veltliner, so perfect for summer, whether it's refreshment or food pairings? That's what we're going to explore tonight, and also some intriguing things. Did you know that Gruner Veltliner, crisp white wine, can be aged? We're going to talk to a man with a winery in Austria whose Gruner Veltliners go back to 1946. As well, they're facing harvest even 4 weeks earlier than usual. Is it climate change? We're going to talk about all of that tonight on the Sunday Sipper Club show. I'm Natalie McLean, editor of Canada's largest wine review site at nataliemclean.com, and we gather here every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, that's Toronto, New York time, to talk to the most interesting people in the world of wine. Now, before I introduce my guest fully, I'd love to know in the comments, where are you logging in from? What's your city and your province or state, and what is the weather? We're still getting warm weather here in Ottawa, but I'd love to hear from you folks. So let me click in and see your comments and where you are from. So hopefully you all can see and hear me just fine, and we will continue to go from there. All right. Hello, Anne. Glad you could join us. Awesome. So I'm assuming you can hear me. All right. The tech gods may be with us tonight. All right. So let me talk about our guest this evening. So our guest this evening is the Deputy Managing Director of the Austrian winery, Windsor Krems. His grandfather was one of the founding members of the local cooperative that merged with Windsor Krems in 1962. Ludwig spent part of his life, or most of his life, in the winery, starting when he was a young boy, helping his parents in the vineyards. And he joins me live now from the winery in Austria. Hello, Ludwig Holzer.
Hello, Natalie. Hello,
Hi.
everyone.
All right.
Greetings. Hello. Grüß Gott and Servus from Austria.
All right. Is it midnight your time there, Ludwig?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay.
It's really midnight
It's perfect.
now. Yes,
You are
yes.
a trooper. Thank you for staying up for
Okay.
us. And as I understand it, you've been hosting at the winery a week-long music festival that just wrapped up this evening?
Yes. It's been perfect timing because the stage is empty now and the last concert ended just an hour ago, and it's been great again. Since 20 years we host this, and there are musicians, I guess, more than 50 countries from around the world performing outside there and
fantastic.
bringing their music, and it's really fun every
That's
day.
great. So you were saying the main stage is kind of right outside your office windows.
Yeah,
We were wondering if there would be like band noises coming from the background.
Everything is done for the day, and we had perfect weather, so everything was in time, and
good.
it's done now.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, and is it a folk festival? Like they were saying, I was reading on your site, there's 1,000 visitors that come for this, and
Yes,
like
yes,
18
yes.
to 20 bands, 100 musicians. Is it kind of like folk music? And
Yeah, they say world music. It's folk music in a very modern way. So there are
Okay.
people from Africa, there are people from South America, there are people from all the places in Asia and Europe, bringing tradition from their folk music, but they present it on a very, very modern way. So they say world music, and it's sometimes it's very strange, but it's always great. It's great musicians. It's really fun because more than 50% of all the production we have seen in the last 5 days was really just done for this festival. So people
Wow.
knowing each other, they
Yeah.
do a project together and they perform here, and it's been a really great thing. So
That's
I like that.
fantastic. Well, I want to welcome Paul Hollander, Marie Walsh, and some other folks are checking in here. I'm just going down to the comments. If you are just logging in, please tell me where you are logging in from. Your state, your city, your province. Marie Walsh is in Halifax. So is Anne McLean. Excellent. Paul Hollander is in Virginia with his wife Patty, and I would love to know what the weather is all around. I'm obsessed with the weather, but then if you love wine, you're obsessed with weather. Francis is here in Ottawa, and it's rainy in Virginia. Oh, okay. And folks, I just want to take a moment that I know we learn a lot every week when we talk to special guests like Ludwig. And if you are interested in learning more about wine, then take a moment to register for my free online wine video class, How to Taste Wine Like a Pro. If you want to take it to the next level, it's free, it's video, it's a lot of fun, and we all know we're going to enjoy this conversation. So just take 2 seconds now to share this video so your friends and family who also love wine can join us here, because as you know, at the end of each conversation we have, I draw for a winner from our previous session. Tonight I'll be drawing for a winner of a couple of bottles of our guest from 2 weeks ago, the California Vintner. And so if you're sharing this one, next week you could be winning 3 bottles of Gruner Veltliner from Windsor Krems. All right, guys. So let me start here then, Ludwig. You were talking about the harvest being very late this year. You have extreme ripeness. You're saying that the grapes are riper almost a month in advance of what they usually would be. What's the situation there? And do you think it has something to do with climate change?
Yeah, it's definitely noticeable. We see this not only for this year. It's a development which is ongoing since 4 or 5 decades, definitely. And you know, the day where we pick the grapes, this is our decision. Yeah, so we can pick earlier or we can pick later. But the day when the first flowering happens of the grape, of the wine, yeah, this is a decision which is just done by the climate. Yeah, and again this year we had a very early flowering, 3 weeks early than usual. And in addition, we had the perfect weather you can imagine since that time. So we had perfect weeks, and we really, for the first time ever, we are more or less sure now that we will start our harvest maybe around the 20th of August, but definitely in August. And this never happened before. So in history, or just if we look 20 years back, the standard time to start the harvest was last week of September. So wow. This was the standard. So we are 3, 4, 5 weeks maybe ahead of this time, and this is very unusual, and we see
it's dramatic.
Maybe it's good, but it's always a big risk if you are so early.
Yeah. So what does that do? What do you think that does to the style? Because, you know, when we talk Gruner Veltliner, which is a lovely, crisp, fresh wine, and you're talking about a warmer climate or 5 weeks early on the harvest, how is that going to affect the style?
Yeah, this is what we have to understand and to experience. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And we always had special places where we've been always knowing as these are the best places for the vineyard, because in years ago it's been important to have enough ripeness. Yeah. And now these places are maybe not the best anymore. Maybe other vineyards which had problems 20, 30 years ago with lack of ripeness, they could be better now for grapes like this. Yeah?
Right. So previously grapes, yes, absolutely.
There's a change going on, and we have to focus to see what happens and have to react.
That is interesting. So previously, as you're saying, certain grapes in certain vineyards weren't ripening. They weren't getting, now they're getting to ripeness, but the ones that were ideal, maybe they're over ripening. Do you think, are you at all thinking of planting new grape varieties based on this change, or are you still sort of waiting to see?
So far we keep definitely with the Gruner Veltliner, which is the most important grape, and with Riesling. But when we look for new grapes, that's more the idea to have grapes which are more stable against the diseases we have. So there's a new grape variety just starting. It's called Donau Riesling. It's related with the Riesling, and this grape can help maybe in the future. But this is a new grape is always a process which needs definitely decades from the first time. A new cross is done to the time where real people find out if it works or not. This needs 10, 30, 40 years maybe.
Yes, so we're talking a long timeline, especially given, you know, you have production once a year. The wine industry is unlike any other. It's not like you can sort of iterate and keep changing every 4 weeks. You kind of have to wait 30, 40 years, see if it works out.
That's it.
So you have, absolutely, you have some soil samples. If you can hold them up close to your chin so that they get on your camera.
That's definitely a thing which is most important for us, because it's loess. It's a sort of a clay.
That's clay that you have there? Can you hold it up a little further? And so why is clay so good for vines?
It's a very fertile soil, and it's a special one. It's called loess, and it can keep a lot of humidity. it can take up to 25% water and keep this. And this is very important for us as we do not have irrigation usually. And so if we have dry periods for 4, 5, 6 weeks, that helps to overcome this time. And it's been turning out over the many years. That's the best, definitely a very good place and soil for Grüne Veltliner and to create this typical character.
Absolutely. And you've got another soil sample there, a bit rockier,
yes,
I think.
It's more, we have within a very short distance, and this is typical for our area, even just for the town of Krems, which is between these two sole places or vineyards. It's just a few hundred meters finally. So we're within a very short distance. We have very different soil conditions.
Soils. Yes,
and that gives a chance to different style of Grüne Veltliner. And if we talk about the second one, about this minerality, primary rock salt, and this is definitely a place which we need for the Riesling. Grüne Veltliner goes good on both opportunities, on both options, but for a great Riesling, we definitely need a primary rock salt.
Rock soil. And why is that? Is the drainage better, or what's the difference there?
It's the experience, and Grüne Veltliner has definitely a different style. If it comes from the Löss, then it's a little softer maybe, because more on the full-bodied side. If it's on the stony primary rock salt, then it's maybe a little bit slimmer, a little bit lighter style, and more minerality. And the Riesling needs that to create the character of a Riesling. He needs this primary rock salt. And in addition, it's been important always to promote the ripeness, because you understand a stony soil heatens up, it keeps the sunlight or the warmth of the sun of the day, and promote ripeness also during night. So it's a stability for the microclimate. And this is definitely important for Riesling, which is later ripening. It needs 3-4 weeks longer to create really great character, and so that's important.
All right, you're getting lots of thumbs up on Facebook for that, Ludwig.
Thank you.
David Snyder from Dallas, Texas says, it's hot here. Way too hot for Gruner. I mean, to grow Gruner, but it'd be great to drink Gruner, David, down there. Jean Lowe has joined, and Sam Hawk, who's in Vancouver, says, Guten Tag, Ludwig. So Guten Tag, is that this evening? Is that what it means? Okay.
Yes.
Very good, Sam. Patty Hollander is giving us a thumbs up. All right. So so we've talked about sort of where the extreme ripeness is coming this year. Maybe we can talk about your winery, because it's not only do you host the music festival, but you've got a sort of a really fantastic touring facility. More than 30,000 visitors visit your winery every year. You've even got a 3D theater about the wine experience. Tell us about what would it be like if we visited your winery in Austria.
Yeah, we started this project about 20 years ago, because at that time we have not been really open for guests, and we had many visitors in the area. It's a perfect place, by the way, around Krems and the Wachau. It's beautiful countryside, and a lot of tourists especially interested on wine growing and wine production. And if we go back a little bit in history, 20, 30 years ago, it was very easy. All the cellar doors were open. So if we had guests and tourists in the area, they had the chance to drop into a cellar, taste wines. In the meantime, many are closed. They want to have it nice and quiet on the weekend, the producers. And so we thought it's a chance again, and we tried to do it a modern way. So people should understand about wine production. So all the tour is guided. So we have someone, usually the people work in the vineyard, there are sommeliers, whatever, they have the idea, they know what's going on. So it depends about the group is coming. If she wants to learn about wine production, then he has a good idea. And if it's more professional visitors already or colleagues from around the world, they have a good idea doing this tour about the philosophy of Winzer Krems, which can be different from other bigger producers in the world, and definitely different from other smaller producers beside in Austria. And people see everything. They go to the vineyard first because we want them get and making understand, not only talking about that that's the place where the quality finally is produced, they need to be there.
Yeah.
And we have a very nice introduction room where we can really could explain all the basics about wine growing, which is definitely the climate, which is the soil conditions as we talked before, but it's also the hand of the wine grower, because you can have the best place, you can have the best vineyard, and you can have the right grapes standing there. If the proper work is not done, then it will be never a good quality, and that's the message, and that's it. So
absolutely. Yeah, and as I understand it, the view from your winery is beautiful. It looks down on the Danube River and the small village and all the vines sort of rolling hills stretching out from that top view of your winery. Eric Sykes says hello. Hello, Eric.
Yeah.
And Sam Hawk from BC says Gruner Veltliner is gaining traction here in BC. So why was Gruner Veltliner such a darling, and still is really, of sommeliers? They're always recommending it in restaurants. And why is that?
I think one of the big advantages of Gruner Veltliner, that's really a food-friendly wine in terms of it's fitting to a lot of different dishes. Yeah, it's basically it's a neutral character. If we talk about Riesling or if we talk about Sauvignon, then they're very strong characters. Yeah, they might fit very good to some dishes, but it's not always sure, and you have to find out. And we know all the stories, and all the basic informations that do not work 100%. So you always have to find out. And Gruner Veltliner is much easier to handle, and we know that it's working with very different tastes, and that's one of the really I think things which help. Yeah, definitely.
Yes, absolutely. And I always say acidity is to wine as salt is to food. So acidity is a good thing. It's not something to be afraid of. And it gets your mouth watering, but it also really highlights the food as well. And I think that's one of the reasons why Gruner Veltliner goes so well with food. It's a lovely food wine. We should just taste this one for sure, because it's one of the few, or only right now in the general list. Now, we have viewers from around the world, not just Ontario here, but this Gruner is available in the LCBO on the general list, very reasonably priced, and it is so fresh. You're right. It's got the sort of vibrancy of Sauvignon Blanc, but it's more versatile, I think. Just the really fresh, it's just fresh, and mouth-watering. And while you're pouring your glass, I want to welcome Richard Campbell has joined us, and Dave Head has joined us. Francis in Ottawa. Hey, hi, Ludwig. What percentage of Austrian wines are exported versus kept home and enjoyed at home? So maybe you can answer that question, then we'll also talk about this particular Gruner. So exporting, is it a large percentage?
I guess it's overall, it might be, in the meantime, it might be 20 to 25% of all the Austrian production. For us, it's almost 50% in the meantime. So as we are one of the biggest producer there, we have the structure to do more export, and with our wines available throughout US, for example, as I hear that you have many guests from there, and in Canada, at least in Ontario.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So for this Gruner, maybe you can give us your tasting notes. What are you smelling on the nose here, Ludwig?
Yeah, it's always it's already zesty and spicy for me on the nose. Yeah,
spicy, like white pepper spicy, or
white pepper. That's usually the perfect thing. And we have this 2017 was for us a perfect vintage, as it's been. The ripeness was not too early, so we picked these grapes end of September, early October. So it's this perfect balance of body, still acidity, which you explained really correct. It's very important for Gruner Veltliner, definitely. And it gives this spiciness, zestiness, fresh liveliness, and makes it a perfect summer wine.
Absolutely. Cheers. Absolutely. So, I mean, this is just so versatile. It could go with vegetarian dishes, seafood, shellfish, chicken, just about everything. Maybe I wouldn't do a big steak, but that's about the only thing I might not.
Yes.
But have you had any very unusual or weird pairings with Gruner Veltliner that actually worked?
Not really, to be honest. Yeah, we tried everything. Yeah, it definitely goes good with Asian food, for example. With all this spiciness, and I've been just a few weeks ago to Hong Kong and also to Thailand, and we definitely know these are places where wine and food is not the big tradition, so they learn about and starting, and Gruner Veltliner is working really good for them, yeah, because it can be a good partner for all these kinds of tastes, yeah. And this is
Absolutely,
fun for
yes.
Austria.
It's interesting where wine wasn't part of the traditional culture, like Asia or India or many other countries, where the cuisine is amazing, lots of
Yes.
spices, lots of flavors, but they're not wine growing countries. This is a great wine to pair. It's kind of a rule of thumb. Like I try to come up with easy memory tricks to remember, okay, which wine for there. But this would be great with, not too spicy, but mild to medium curries, spices, that would work really well with the Gruner Veltliner.
I,
Absolutely.
I, I'm sure, yes.
And I want to welcome Beverly is here and Dawn Holmes is here. So guys, what's the weather like where you are and what's in your glass? All right. So what do you think people should do to get to know Austrian wines? Of course, we want to taste lots of Austrian wines. What else should we do to become familiar with them?
Yeah, I mean the best thing is come and visit us. Yeah, then
Is
you
it?
see everything. I know. Yeah, but
Yeah.
then you know about Austria. It's we like to be well known for wine in the meantime. Yeah, but we realize that as a very small producer, it's not that easy. Yeah, and Austrian wine is definitely a niche product. So Austria is definitely more well known for its big musicians in history. So yeah,
Yeah,
maybe we
Austria
have
is
your
well
Gruner
known for
Veltliner.
the musicians. You're
Definitely,
right, but you're
definitely,
pairing
yeah.
wine and music with that festival, which makes
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. And we know that
perfect
definitely
sense.
Mozart, Beethoven, and all these guys, they had a glass of wine. So,
All
and
those guys
they
had a glass of
created
wine.
great music.
That's
So
great.
it
Who
helped
knows?
definitely.
Absolutely, especially when you're listening to it. And I just want to say, folks, if you're just joining us, please share this video with your friends and family. They'd love to join us, I'm sure, and comment because, as you know, at the end of our conversations, I always draw for a winner based on who shared and commented. At the end of each session, we will be drawing for several bottles of California wine at the end of this one from our previous guest. And if you share this video, there's 3 bottles of Gruner Veltliner that Ludwig has generously given us as a prize. And just to let you know, if you want to take your knowledge to the next step, if you want to learn more about wine, you can join me in a free online wine video class, How to Taste Like a Pro. Just go to the URL, nataliemclean.com/pro. All right. So, and let me just get back here. Eric Sykes says here, it's cloudy in Chicago, mid-70s. That's warm. Yes, Eric, he would pair the Gruner with Indonesian, Thai. Absolutely. Beverly, it's 95 degrees in Southern California. Oh
Oops.
my goodness. You definitely need a Gruner Veltliner. They are a well-chilled one, Beverly. Okay. So what, if you could have a bottle of wine, Ludwig, with anyone in the world, living or dead, who would you share a bottle of wine with?
Oh, yeah, maybe I met Bob Mondavi 30 years ago, yeah, and this would be great because I think at his time he's been always a guy and he's been always so forward in his thinking, and it would be great to talk to him again maybe and to check with him and find his ideas about the future from the day of the wine business, yeah, which is always
Absolutely.
interesting because this is what
Yeah.
we get to know.
He was a true pioneer.
Definitely.
Any particular question you'd ask him?
I just would like to discuss with him about his view and his ideas about the future of the wine business because I always thought he has been so, yeah, he had the right ideas at his time, yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. And what do you think is the future of the Austrian wine business? Where do you think Austria is going? What's the future?
No, we definitely have a good chance as we are a very small producer and we are well known in the meantime. And if you would have asked me 30 years ago when I started my business, I always thought it might be very difficult with Austrian wine because at that time I've been out in the world. I've been to the United States for the first time, to Canada, to many other countries, and I always thought why people should pick Austrian wine. They do not know Austria really as a wine producing country. and they definitely did not know about the grape varieties. And we know it's not easy to spell Grüner Veltliner or Blauer Zweige. And I always thought that's the big problem for us, yeah. And nowadays, I think many people, especially the young guys and ladies, and also a lot of people with a lot of experience, they look for new things, yeah. Then they are not, the Chardonnay they had is not enough. They look for new things, they look for new wines, they look for new grapes. And I think this is the best chance we have for Austria. And I think other big development is that people eat lighter. The dishes are going to be lighter. And so it's good to have fruity, lighter wine styles. And as you said before, I would definitely not recommend Grüner Veltliner to a steak. Yeah. Therefore, I would have really a great red wine. Yeah. But for more all the other things, yeah, most of the other things, Grüner Veltliner is a perfect thing. Yeah, especially for light dishes.
Yes, absolutely.
Grüner Veltliner can be really nice as a low alcohol wine. Yeah, it does not need this 14 volume%, which definitely makes him as a great wine. Yeah,
it does. And this is just 12%. I love the freshness of that. You just don't need a lot of alcohol. It can still deliver all the flavor and the interest. It's not wimpy. Margaret Hawthorne says hello from the beautiful Ottawa Valley. We just had some rain, now in the low 70s. I agree with you, Margaret. I'm here too in Ottawa. So I'm just wondering, Ludwig, is there a piece of wine advice you could share with us? Something that we could do or try in the week coming, other than, of course, go buy yourself an Austrian wine and try it and pair it. But is there some general wine advice you'd like to offer people who are watching?
I often think, and this includes not only the consumers, this includes sometimes also professionals, that don't give the wine enough time in the glass. Yeah, it's always nice when I get a wine poured in a glass, I always want to have this first impression. Yeah, but then I think it's also very important to give the wine a chance to wait for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Yeah, it can be also a little bit warmer, because then you understand really what behind the wine is. And I see. Sometimes I see wines that have a very nice impression on the first sight, yeah, but 5-10 minutes later they are gone, yeah, and sometimes they are tasting bad. And this is always a good example for me to try if a wine is honest, yeah. It can be a light wine. He has a very nice smell maybe, but also 10 minutes later he needs to be good. He need to have a nice, yeah.
Yeah, I love that advice, Ludwig. That's great.
Yes.
I don't do it often enough myself. So give the wine, 5 minutes in the glass, see what's happening, because wine does change. It's reacting with the oxygen, and it's definitely changing in the glass.
Many wines are getting better and better, and these are the important thing, I think. These are the really good wines, the strong characters. And also some of the lighter wines. Yes, our wines are definitely need a little bit of time in the glass.
In the glass.
To develop the flavors. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, to warm up and develop and interact with the oxygen. That's fantastic. Alison Fader says, I haven't had a Gruner for a few years. I definitely need to head over to the liquor store for a bottle after this video. Will be great in the heat. You betcha, Alison. This is just so chill. It's served nice and cool, only 12% alcohol. It's like, oh, it's so lovely. Eric Sykes asks, what's Austrian wine considered? Is it a New World or Old World wine, Ludwig? That's a great question.
It's definitely Old World wine.
Old World, yeah. But trying to establish a new reputation, because as you said, not a lot of people know about Austrian wine here in North America. Like for Europe, I'm sure it's very familiar, but for us, it's almost like it's a New World wine and that we need to get to know it, but you're right. Yes. Technically, it's part of the Old World categories like France and Italy and so on. Yeah. All right. Good questions here tonight and great comments, Ludwig. Is there anything that you'd like to add as we wrap up? Anything that we've missed or that you wanted to say?
No, I think that's fine so far. If we talk about Grüner Veltliner and Austria, that's the most important story. Yeah,
it is, isn't it?
One more is that it works together with the change of the climate we have. Is the very interesting things that our red wines are developing.
Oh yes, red wines.
France, which 20, 30 years ago we never thought to have good red wines, good strong characters, strong enough characters. And in the meantime we have that, and a little bit strange because we did not expect that. Yeah, so it's we have
Right.
almost 30% red wine production in the
Oh,
meantime.
wow. 30%.
Yeah,
So it's getting warm
yeah.
enough to ripen those red
It is, yeah.
grapes.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
Oh,
Yeah. It's
fantastic.
still a fruity style. Yeah, it's more burgundy, fruity, light
Is it?
red
Yeah.
wine style. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
And Francis asks, what would be your signature red wine in Austria? What should we look for?
It's definitely Blauer Zweigelt. That's again, sorry guys for this name and for this, but it's
We'll put it in
named
the
after,
comments. Yeah,
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
spell it out for people.
It's named after the guy who did the cross or the breed 80 years ago. Yeah,
Okay.
but
Why
now it's
couldn't he have been
definitely,
named Smith?
yeah,
Oh,
would
well.
be much easier. Would be much
Yeah,
easier.
exactly.
But now it's really number one grape in Austria, and I think it's got a good future because it's again like the Grüner Veltliner. It's a light white wine style, yeah, and
Right.
fits the many occasions.
Awesome. Yeah. I've tried it. It's lovely. It is some sort of midway between Pinot and a Merlot or something. It's smooth and got racy acidity and cherry
Yes, that's definitely a
flavors.
little bit off the standard red
yeah.
wine style, and
No, but it's good.
we had 20 years ago there have been critics, but now it's people like it. Yes,
Coming around to it. Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the lighter fare that you mentioned. It would be lovely with
Yes.
veal or roast chicken or anything like that. All right. Well, Ludwig, thank you so much for being here tonight. I appreciate you spending your time with us, and your wine is just so vibrant, and people need to get back to Gruner Veltliner if they haven't had it for a while. Yes, cheers. All right. There you go. It's lovely, crisp, so fresh, and as I say, summer in a glass. Can't beat it. For just on its own as an aperitif or pairing with all the things we enjoy in summer. So I wish you well with the harvest this year. It's going to be interesting given the
Thank you.
climate change. But again, thank you, and I hope to speak to you again soon, Ludwig.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Take care. Okay.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, folks, so hang on because I've got some more announcements for you. And we will just... Lori, hello, Lori Sweet. Glad you're coming in. You can watch the replay. You missed, I think, the part, unless you were lurking and are just saying hi now. You can watch the video replay. But I've got some interesting things to tell you guys. So I would love to know, first off, what was the most interesting point you learned tonight? Please post in the comments. I love to hear that. Again, as always, take a moment now. I know we're almost at the end here, but take a moment to share because you could qualify to win 3 bottles of Gruner Veltliner wine next week. And if you want to take your wine knowledge to the next level, register for my free online video wine class at nataliemaclean.com/pro. And now we had 2 weeks ago, we had Joel Gott from California, and we are going to be giving 2 bottles of his premium wines away to someone who shared and commented on that video chat. And the winner is, let's see if I've got the right, oh, I pressed the right one. Oh, boom! Mike Welling in Toronto. All right, Mike Welling. Joanna says she's been lurking. Yes, lurkers are all welcome. So Mike Welling, congratulations on the bottles of wine. And what else have I got for you? Elaine Bruce, I'm loving the learning about the soils. As always, informative. Excellent, Elaine, in Calgary. So guys, we have a long weekend here in Ontario coming up next weekend, so we're on hiatus, but you can always watch the back issues, the previous chats, there's a link already posted for those. But 2 weeks from now, we're going to have a really fun guest. She is located in Austin, Texas, and she teaches wine and yoga. So as she does her yoga moves, she's instructing people about wine. It is so cool. Vinyasa, downward dog, has a new twist. What do you pair with it? Cabernet, Chardonnay? I don't know. But it's going to be really fun. Patty, I'm glad you're loving the different food wine pairings. Excellent. So guys, come back in 2 weeks because we're going to be having wine and yoga. Even if you don't do yoga, this woman is really interesting because she used to be in the wine industry and now she's taken her love of yoga and exercise and paired the two. It's kind of interesting how she does it. So as always, try to find really interesting guests for you and take wine into new dimensions for you. I love that you guys spend your time, a little bit of your Sunday here with me every week at 6 p.m. Eastern, Toronto, New York time. If you're watching the replay, just comment below or wherever the comments are, depending on what device you're using. And that way I'll see it and we can respond. Yes, Joanna, Mary Ewing will be back. Last week, the tech gods were not with us. They were not happy, but we are rescheduling. So I'll know that soon when I get the date from Mary, but I'm bringing her back because I'm determined. She's such an interesting guest. First Master of Wine woman in the United States and the author of Wine for Dummies books. 7 million copies, 38 languages. Amazing. So we want to get her back. And you can also suggest other guests in the comments below. Please, I'd love to know your suggestions. So we will definitely have Mary Ewing back. Okay, guys, love it. I'll be looking at the comments later tonight and tomorrow throughout the week to see what you're saying and respond. I really appreciate your time tonight, and I hope you're having a lovely Sunday evening. All the best. Thanks, guys. Thanks for all the thumbs up, the hearts, the emojis, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time. Okay? Take care.